G'day everyone, Chris Stubbs with you and Molly Taylor alongside. We're looking ahead to round 5 of the Shannons SpeedSeries for 2023. And Molly, halfway through the year, we're putting you in the hot seat.
Yeah, we're going to really break down what's happened so far, who's impressed us the most, and also who goes on from here, who takes the championships, and particularly focus on TCR and Trans Am. There's a lot brewing in those two series.
Absolutely, and off we go to Queensland Raceway this weekend. Heaps to talk about. Let's get stuck into it. Well, here we are, ready to go. Molly, you've been overseas once again. Perhaps not to the standards that we've been used to in the previous kind of weeks, but not your fault, of course.
I didn't bring home a trophy, Stubbsy, I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, not our best weekend, but still very close up the top of the championship. So looking forward to having another crack at that next month. You've been escaping Australian winter as well, and you've been overseas.
Yeah, not that it was much warmer over in the UK, but no, at Wimbledon as part of Stan Sports coverage, that was awesome. And Carlos Alcaraz, one to watch if you don't already know all about him. Make sure you find out. But we're here to talk the important stuff. We're here to preview Queensland Raceway. Let's have a look at the schedule that's coming up. It's some of our favourites, including, of course, Super Cheap Auto TCR Australia, the National Trans Am Series. We've got the Fanatec GT World Challenge Australia Series powered by AWS. We've got the Porsche Michelin Sprint. We've got the Kumo V8 Touring Car Series. And also, if you're trackside, you'll be able to catch the Mobil 1 APC Series combined with the Monochrome GT4 Series. So heaps to look forward to. Molly, let's grab a seat and get chatting.
Let's do it.
Molly, to start us off, let's go back. Let's have a quick review of Winton. Really, by the end of the weekend, it was about Bailey Sweeney and putting up his hand and saying, I want this title, wasn't it?
Yeah, phenomenal weekend from him. At the beginning, it looked like it was going to be Michael Clemente's weekend, really, taking pole position, winning the first race, and then those mechanical issues with that clutch saw him sit out race 2. Looked like he was on for a big fight back in race 3 to get to a podium, and then had that last lap contact, which it was pretty thrilling spectacle for all us sitting on the edge of our seats. So unfortunately for Clemente, not the weekend, but as you said, also really strong showing from Bailey Sweeney, being able to capitalise on all of that, and a real mature driver, and he's sitting in a very good place in the championship now because of it.
The other winner on the weekend, Tom Oliphant, so he adds that to his CV. Yeah,
how cool is that? Tom, new to this series, fresh from the British Touring Car Championships, which you know how competitive it is. So for him to add a TCR Australia win to his list, he was very happy to see that, and great to see, especially he was back in the Alpha too, not in his new Lincoln Co. So he has some family commitments for this weekend in Queensland, so he won't be there, but the Lincoln Co will be back, so that'll be cool. Yeah,
that's good to see. Good opportunity there. So some talking points around the driver of that car, that's for sure. Will Brown returns as well. Always great to see Will racing after his trip to the US, a bit of a fact-finding mission, and he probably needed that, didn't he, just to get away from this series for a bit.
Oh gosh, it's been a shocker of a season for poor Will. In that new Audi, previous champion, everyone just like, this is Will's year again, and it's just sort of gone from bad to worse, and hopefully he'll come back. I'm sure he'll come back re-energised. Seem to have got on top of a lot of those issues that they had with the Audi. So, I think now looking ahead to Queensland, he knows that track well. The previous gen Audis traditionally have been very good around there too. So I think, we're in for a strong showing finally. Hopefully Will have his day.
We've said that before, touch wood. In terms of the championship points, we'll have a look at how we're situated. We are halfway through the season, as we've said, and it is looking good for Bailey Sweeney. He leads by 36 points from Josh Buchan. Jordan Cox is 61 behind Sweeney, and then follows Aaron Cameron and Lockie Maneath. But at this point, let's have a look at some of the top 5 moments from season 2023.
Yeah, it's gone. Brown. Look at the dramas for the right rear. It's collapsed or something. What a weekend this is turning out to be for Will Brown. Right of your screen, Zach Suter. His dad Shane, I think, at the back of the car there.
Now remember, he had the same dramas as Will Brown. They both missed the same amount of races down there.
He increases it on the run. Oh! Whoa! It's gone wild. Clementi's off. Clementi's off on the run home. What has happened there? Suter's through. That car's damaged.
It's the pits, but Josh Buchan would pick up the victory. His 4th career win in Super Cheap Auto TCR Australia. And Bailey Sweeney sweeps around the final turn and completely dominates the third and final race here at Winton Motor Raceway and High Tech Oils Race Winton. Great debut though for Clementi in this Cupra. Of course, they've had, he makes a move.
Oh!
Into the side, the shape of the Peugeot. It wasn't pretty, but it's worked. I think we want to turn turn the audio down inside the in-car of this camera right now. He's going to etch himself into the record books. We've had 21 winners in this series, and Michael Clementi continues that growing list of winners.
Well
as
done.
the Carl Cox Motorsport team celebrates. The season of first continues. It's been almost a year since Ash Seaward Motorsport have won. That changes today because Tom Oliphant is now a winner.
Plenty of awesome action so far. You get the feeling that the best, though, is also yet to come. Molly, I'm putting you in the hot seat. Give us your driver who's impressed you the most, we'll call it, so far in this year.
Oh, I mean, it's hard to pick one. We've seen lots of impressive performances. If we look at the privateers, Lockie Manif, Michael Clemente, amazing job, Zach Suter as well. But I think, Bailey Sweeney has been very, very impressive. Young kid. It's not his first season in the championship, but I think he's impressed a lot of people, and I don't think people were expecting the performance that he's put on so far this year, and to be in that position in the older Gen Hyundai as well. I think he's probably been the most impressive all up.
I think everyone would agree. He certainly has raised eyebrows. Pretty quietly spoken, isn't he? We know that from chatting to him on the grid, but you can see the confidence is starting to come on that side of things as well, but driving very, very well. Who wins the title, Molly, from this point? 36 points. Yeah,
that's the question. It's the two Hyundai teammates in the top two positions. And then if you look further back, third and fourth, it's the GRM drivers, Jordan Cox and Aaron Cameron. And they've been having a bit of mixed runs with those Peugeots.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure that package is enough to be able to take.
You don't trust them? Okay, yep.
I mean, there's still a lot to play for and a lot of points to come, but, it really looks like it's going to become a battle of the Hyundais. And if we look at the next few events, maybe they're going to suit the smaller, older gen car more potentially, but we know in those big tracks, we saw Josh's pace at Phillip Island when we're talking about going to Sydney, to Bathurst.
Yep.
It's the first season in that car. They're just getting stronger and stronger as well. So I think it's going to come down to a tussle, and I think maybe Josh, he might have a last end charge, and then we'll see if team orders come into play or not. I don't know.
I was going to say, if you have to put the Mad Garage on one of them, it's Josh then.
I'm going to go Josh.
Okay, good call. I think a lot of people would agree. Josh looks pretty good. Bailey will give him a battle right to the end. Time, though, for TaylorMade as we throw our eyes forward to Queensland Raceway this weekend. Molly, talk us through it. Who lines up well and who comes out on top at the end of the day?
Yeah, I think, the Hyundais are leading the championship, but I feel like this is the event we might see some other makes up the front. We've seen traditionally the Hondas and the Audis have been really strong at this track before. This is where Tony D'Alberto really consolidated his championship last year when he needed to take those wins and he was able to convert them. So he's looking for a good run. So hopefully he can make that stick in Queensland. But I think for me it's Will Brown and that Audi. He's back. That car should be sorted. I think he's going to be the one to beat.
And in terms of the track, we know that it's called the Paperclip, but what style with TCR do you think we should look forward to? Do you think it'll be pretty close? Like, who do you think it really suits in terms of the car?
Yeah, I think like Winton, it's one of those small tracks that's got 6 corners.
Yeah.
It's got 2 left-hand corners. So I think, there could be some tricky business with setup. A lot of teams test there, like in Winton. So I think it's a track everyone knows so well. You've got turn 1, super fast, bumpy corner.
Yep.
And then, quite a few other tighter corners, but also allow the opportunity for overtaking as well. So even though it's quite small, I think we can see a lot of action as well. And we know that the TCR drivers aren't afraid to get their elbows out. So I think we're going to see a few dive bombs.
I think so. And always great viewing as well, isn't it? When you can sit up on the hill and around that turn 1, it's always good action. And there was plenty of that last year. All right, Molly, Trans Am. Again, we'll look backwards before we look forwards. The Lockie Dalton show at Winton. Wow, 3 from 3.
Yeah, doing the triple. A really impressive showing. And we know he's a hugely talented driver, but again, he's really converted that and to dominate like he did. Sure, Moff had some problems, but Lockie really just, once he got off the start line, there was no looking back, and he was just had a fast, consistent, clean, really mature, impressive performance. And I think that's turned a page, I guess, in his Trans Am career, and so I think that confidence now, he's just going to go from strength to strength.
Yeah, always showed plenty of talent, didn't he? But the consistency this year, and I think being around GRM perhaps, Marcus Ambrose, there's the Tasmanian connection there. I think it's starting to really come through, isn't it? Yeah, looking good. In terms of the championship, we'll have a look at the standings. It is Moff still leading, but only 9 points. The margin now over Lockie. Tom Heyman in third. He's another one who's had a great year from Webster and Kelly rounding out the 5. At this point, we'll have a look at the top 5 moments as well from the season so far as selected by the team at SpeedSeries.
Last, laughs, loudest, Owen Kelly with another victory at Phillip Island. You love this place. Great job.
No, thanks. And I think, I'm not going to run my mouth like some of these other blokes, and clearly it doesn't pay off, right? So I was trying to look in the mirror for him. I couldn't see him. I don't know where he was. So
And back on the top step of the podium for Team Valvoline GRM. Put your hands together for James Moffat.
Let's make this a double for Dalton. 2 out of 2 here in Trans Am.
Masterclass once again from Dalton.
Or something's gone wrong, and then bang.
Sound of it making the impact there.
They're going to go side by side right around to the final turn. It'll unleash them, both of them. It's a neck-and-neck race down Gardner Straight. Nash Morris gets the ascendancy. Moff's not going to give up. He has a look on the inside. He wants to have a look on the outside, but Morris gets it done.
Stop it. Closest finish ever.
Yes, Trans Am continuing to gain more and more momentum and more fans throughout the year. Heaps of action still to come at the halfway point. Your MVP or your most impressed by driver so far this year?
Oh, I mean, we always see so much action and so many opportunities for young talent to really showcase up against some seasoned competitors. But I mean, I think Lockie Dalton to be able to, we've had a lot of young drivers have some really impressive moments, but for him to take the whole weekend, super impressive.
Yep, I agree with that. Moff, you know where he's at. He's got the experience. He's got a good team around him. But I agree. I think Lockie, the way he's come through and put it all together is pretty impressive. Who wins the title? 9 points, as we said, the difference. Who gets it from here? The old fox in Moff with the experience, or the young dog, or someone else perhaps that's snapping at their heels?
Oh, look, I think Moff's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah.
He is such a talented driver and such an experienced driver, and you can see even when he has a challenging weekend, the amount he's able to move up the field and still consolidate points. So I think, he is such a well-rounded, experienced driver. He's going to be incredibly hard to beat. So I think I've still got my money on Moff for the title. Thought it was going to be more of a race between Owen Kelly and Moff, and there's still a lot of rounds left, but I think Owen's definitely due a good round.
I think so. Yeah.
He's we're not used to we're used to seeing him in further up.
Yeah.
So I think there's still going to be that battle hasn't finished, and we're going to see him come good too.
Josh Webster too, young bloke from Tassie.
Super impressive.
Yeah, super impressive. And he's got good people around him as well, but we saw him in Excel, I think, a couple of years ago in Tassie. Was dominating in that and progressing up, and really impressed with him too. There may be a little bit of Tassie bias.
Nash Morris as well. Really stepped up this year too. Impressive to watch.
Love it. Great category, and we're certainly enjoying it. So Molly, this weekend, 4 races for the first time this season. Can only be a good thing, right?
How good. The more the merrier, I say.
Yeah.
It's going to be fantastic. I think Queensland as well. We know Nash Morris, a lot of the Queensland drivers do the majority of their testing up at that track in those cars. So I think, if there's any driver from Queensland on the entry list, they're the ones you want to keep your eyes on. But look, not to say that a driver like James Moffat couldn't do that track with his eyes closed. So I think we're in for a good battle all the time. Doesn't matter where we go with Trans Am.
And is it a little bit like Winton as well, trying to get these big cars, big raw cars, handle them around a pretty tight and technical track in many ways?
Yeah, I mean, we know they move around a lot as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, turn one's going to be fun in those things, and then, trying to haul them up as well for those big braking sections. It doesn't matter what car around there. I think, there's plenty of opportunities for people to make moves. So that's what we're here to see.
GT World Challenge Australia, crunch time, Molly, for this championship, isn't it?
Yeah, penultimate round for them. So, there's always such a fantastic spectacle to watch, the combination of driver pairings, all the different GT makes and the Audis and the Porsches and the AMGs and watching that battle. So, it's always pretty thrilling to watch and sounds very impressive as well.
Absolutely. The Princes are back too, so 888, home deck there in southeast Queensland, so they'll be pushing right to the front as well. They've been busy overseas. And top 10 shootout. Molly, we've never seen this before in GT. What do you think of the way that it's been carved up?
Yeah, a really cool format. So basically, normally the pro drivers in the Pro-Am category will normally do the qualifying session. So that is how it'll start. And then essentially at that point, the top 10 will go into a top 10 shootout like we've seen before, but then the AM drivers hop in and they get to do the final positions for the top 10
That's
themselves.
cool, isn't it?
So,
I like that.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I think, if you've got someone like Liam Talbot and quite a number of the AM drivers who are as fast as the pros, I think it's going to really potentially mix things up as well, because there seems to be a bit more I guess movement, or it's not quite as tight necessarily. So maybe when you see that first quali, the top 10 shootout, you still really don't know where everything's going to end up. So I think that's going to be a cool spectacle. And also, most of the AM drivers are, in most cases, the ones that own these cars. So how cool that they get to have the limelight in their car rather than giving the keys to someone else. Sounds fairer to me.
Yeah, I like that. And like I said, the way that it could mix things up is really cool. Kumo tyres and the V8 touring car series. Jude Bargwanna. Wow, do we give him the title now? Seriously,
it's been a bit of a
impressive.
Jude show, hasn't it? He a super impressive run again at Winton. He's just been dominating that series, but I think we can see it getting a bit closer. There's 2 more cars coming in for this round as well.
AU, who doesn't love seeing an AU?
I mean, I think that's one of the cool things about this series is just seeing the history of those cars. And yes, they bring back all the nostalgia, but they're actually the cars as well. It's not just the the model or something that has history. It's that actual chassis that has the history and in all the old liveries for a lot of the cars. So I think it's particularly around the Queensland Raceway or the Queensland's fans to kind of get a taste of that old and new in the same weekend is a pretty cool opportunity to have.
Where do you think Jude's at in terms of his career progression, what he's shown this year? Obviously the machinery is quite different in this series, but the next step in progression for him, because supercars is his end game.
Yeah, a great place to start for him. He's doing such a great job, but I think, probably I would love to see him in a Trans Am car.
Cool.
In that really close racing environment, he can obviously, handle that style of car really, really well. So I'd love to see him have a crack at Trans Am.
Same. Jude, make it happen. Not that we want to lose you from Kumo series either, though.
We can just double Jude. There's plenty of drivers in the field that do both.
Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge. We know we'll expect talent and big grids, right?
Yeah, I think over 25 cars lining up. Fantastic to see, and it really is the proving ground for the next generation. So really close competition, some good names in there as well. And I think we've seen from the history of that category, some of the drivers, Matty Campbell, Earl Balmer, those guys that have started there and what they've gone on to achieve internationally. So I think, as a young driver starting in that category, if you can cut the mustard there, you've got a whole lot of options at your doorstep.
We mentioned Earl Bamber, one of his men is doing well.
Yeah, Marco Giltrap, been doing some great things. Also Ronan Murphy, Greg Murphy's son. So there's a lot of promising young drivers in that category, and it's all pretty close at the top. So be a good one to watch.
All right, speaking of watching, good segue, Molly. We're on air from 11:30 on Stan Sport on Saturday. Sunday, it's 11:30. And of course, Saturday, there's always the 3 hours of free-to-air TV on 9Gem. That's from 2 to 5 p.m. So plenty to look forward to. And may we just say that the ratings have been up 20% live on Stan Sport. 31% on demand, so plenty of people making the most of that opportunity. Record crowds, we've had all sorts of stuff. Engagement on socials is up. The free-to-air numbers are up. So thank you to everyone who's watching and enjoying the series as it continues to grow. Not just, though, about Speed Series this weekend. IndyCar, Molly, available on Stan Sport too.
Yeah, Indy will be running this weekend at the home of Indy. At the Indianapolis Motor Speedway at the street circuit, or the road course. That will be fantastic to watch. So I don't think there's going to be much sleep happening. As soon as we go off air from Stan, we'll be all watching the action from Indy. So let's hope that we can see Scotty in the winner's circle again.
Absolutely. Super cool the way they use the straight from the oval, as well as everything's on the infield so you can see it all. So it's certainly one to watch. The TCR World Tour as well. Uruguay and Argentina coming up the 2 weekends following this weekend, and then they head here. And we can't wait because there's been some news in the recent weeks about what's happening at Sydney Motorsport Park, Molly. So we're flicking on the lights.
Yeah, I know. It's been the talk for so long, and we've kind of, been hearing rumours, and everyone's been, I don't know whether they start those rumours to see if it'll eventuate. But it has. We're going to race under lights, which will be just phenomenal. And what a good spectacle for the international drivers as well.
Yeah, that's it.
And I think all the Aussie drivers are just super keen to get stuck into that too.
Big grids, mid-20s to almost 30 TCR cars.
It's going to be wild.
It'll be awesome. But first of all, it's all about QR. Molly, you're actually not going to be there, are you?
No, I'm not actually. I'll be in Belgium. I'm competing in the RX2E series, which is part of the World Rallycross Championship. Also on Stan Sport. So I'll be on Stan Sport in some capacity.
Good luck in Belgium. Don't eat too much chocolate. We'll see the rest of you though at Queensland Raceway. See you then.